Before we start today's show, we tell you about the Oxford Exxon, Highway 6 West in Oxford. Go get a lunch special today, $4.99, 2 sides bread, 32-ounce drink. Get some ribs tonight, wet or dry. Maybe you want to watch Ole Miss and Alabama at 8 o'clock. Pick the ribs up on the way home from work. Have dinner ready to go for you and the kids. Go next door to the Oxford Crystal. Take advantage of them as well. Maybe shakes, maybe sacks of burgers, whatever you like there at the Oxford Crystal. Everything you need on Highway 6 West. Remember those stadium cups from the pavilion. You get the stadium cup, 49 cents to refill it with the Oxford Exxon. Every time you come through, fountain drink, 49 cents. Also coming to you from the Clark Ford studio. Clark Ford's in Amory, Mississippi, 662-257-1900, Highway 25 South. Give Corey Clark a call during business hours. 15 minutes. You get a quote, shop it around, take it. It's going to be the best deal. So at the end, when you're signing the paperwork, tell him you heard about it on the podcast. An extra $500 off with Clark Ford. Now on to the show.
From the Clark Ford studio in Oxford, Mississippi, MBW Digital proudly presents the Oxford Exxon Podcast.
I'd say thanks for tuning in, but why am I going to give you a round of applause for something that you're supposed to do, to be frank?
And now, here are your hosts, Chase Parham.
That broadcast school has really paid off.
And Neal McCready.
I deserve to be on TV.
Tuesday edition of the Oxford Exxon Podcast. Chase Parham, Neal McCready. Clark Ford studio this morning. Ole Miss and Alabama, a late tip tonight, 8 p.m. from Coleman Coliseum. Mr. McCready, we'll get started with Alabama. Obviously, I'm trying to think what else we got today. Just some stuff more than anything else. I was kind of in my head doing a little bit of organization, but that never really works out well, so it is what it is today. But nonetheless, Ole Miss and Alabama expecting a close game. Vegas certainly does. They have Alabama a 1-point favorite as of right now. Yeah. They have the over-under total at 152. OddsShark predicting a 5 or 6 point Ole Miss win. And when I looked at the metrics a minute ago, I'll check with Ken Palm again, but it was a 1-point game as of yesterday.
I think I like Ole Miss getting a point. I know I really like the under.
Ole Miss has covered against Alabama 7 of the last 10 times. They've won 6 of the last 10 outright. Have not played historically well at Coleman Coliseum, however. No. That has been one of the tougher venues for the Rebels relative to the talent level of both teams over the years. It's a wide arena with everything kind of set back a little bit. It's always kind of dark. I don't mind the building, but I do get how from a visiting standpoint it is a strange place to play compared to some of these modern arenas that they're in.
Yeah, it's a different building. From the outside, it looks like a barn, like a big, long silo sort of a barn.
Airline hangar.
Yeah, an airline hangar. You get in it, and it feels like a gym. It's fine. But, yeah, teams, I think it's a different place to play. I've covered different teams that have gone into Coleman, and it's been weird. I don't know. I just fascinated to see what Alabama is like sort of emotionally tonight. They gave Tennessee all Tennessee wanted in Knoxville on Saturday and blew it at the free throw line, frankly. There's a lot of content up at rebelgrove.com. I have a notebook. I posted on the message board both Kermit Davis and Terrence Davis on their video, and then I put up the Ole Miss media relations notes. Ole Miss fell to number 20 in the AP poll yesterday from 18. No big deal.
Tennessee at number 1.
Tennessee number 1. LSU in the poll for the first time in a little while. So anyway, I mean, Alabama had the top-ranked team in the country on the ropes and couldn't finish the deal. I don't know what they'll be like tonight. They're doing a buy one get one free ticket thing.
Saw that,
which tells you that the fans aren't
breaking down the doors.
Just shows you everybody can talk about what fan support and no fan support.
Bama's not bad. They're fine.
But people want winners.
We thought they had it going there more than maybe they did because, comes to find out when you don't have Colin Sexton on the floor, you're not as good. So
when you lose a lottery pick at point guard, you fall off. Unless you replace him with another lottery pick at point guard. And they didn't. Donta Hall's a good player. They've got good players. They rebound well. They're athletic. They don't shoot it all that great. They're bad at the free throw line. I'm not positive that they're the best coach team in the league. It'll be an interesting game, and for Ole Miss, man, it's a shot. You win tonight, 5-1 in the league, sets up, and I can't remember the last time. Someone will have to help me. I'm not an Ole Miss historian. I've been on the beat 11 years. If it happened since I've been on the beat and I can't remember, forgive me, I'm getting old. I can't remember the last time Ole Miss played a team and both teams were nationally ranked at home.
Well, I mean, the last time it would be a possibility would be late 13. So,
and I just don't recall. And so if there's one that's obvious and I'm missing it, make fun of me on a message board, or Twitter or whatever. I'm cool with it. I simply don't remember, and I haven't looked at the notes. I'm sure that Adam Kuffner, who does a fantastic job with the notes package, I'm sure that if it's in there, he's got it in there. I just haven't read those notes yet.
Iowa State, Ole Miss's opponent for Saturday, lost a tough one to Kansas last night. Led for much of the night. Really had a chance to pull off a huge upset, sweep the Jayhawks on the season. Kind of wilted a little bit down the stretch as Kansas made a run and took that one. But that's
probably distracted by The Bachelor.
That's probably the truth. There's no harm, though, to anyone in that game.
No.
All good on all sides.
Everybody's good. Iowa State losing at Kansas is not going to hurt Iowa State's resume. Here's what's fun. I mean, Ole Miss loves to do because for so long they've been fighting to get in, and they still are fighting to get in. Make no mistake about it. But Iowa State's got that game at Ole Miss circled on Saturday. Chance for a quadrant 1 road win.
Well,
baby.
look, we always make these jokes a little, not really even jokes, just talking about AP poll not being relevant from a selection standpoint. It's because it's so misguided with a lot of dummies doing the polls, a lot of agendas doing the polls, all sorts of wacky crap like the guy that wouldn't rank teams that hadn't played road games and all this stuff. Point being, you look at the net, and Iowa State and LSU are two top 15 teams, top 20 teams that really are good. Iowa State's at 24 in the poll, and LSU's at 25. That LSU team is ranked 25th in the nation when they haven't lost in over a month, and 2 of their losses are to teams ranked in the top 35 in the net.
It confirms what I've always said about media polls. People who aren't watching the games are voting in polls. It'd be like giving me an AP ballot right now. I'm not watching enough college basketball to be an AP voter. How do I really know who's – you're telling me there are 24 teams in the country better than LSU? I'm going to flat tell you that is not true.
If so, it's going to be one hell of a tournament.
If so, it is going to be a magical freaking tournament.
Yeah, this son of a guns are ranked 25th. Barely got in.
I thought they were fantastic the other night.
Oh, they're good.
I really did. Will Wade has a reputation for not being a good coach, but I didn't see that. I saw a pretty strong coaching job.
Just if you're curious, no one ranked LSU higher than 16th this week. The highest ranking guy actually was from T.J. Ware, one of the Mississippi AP voters. And
who is T.J. Ware?
He's a news guy to Jackson TV. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
See the guy that stands back in the back and asks? No.
No.
That's not
You
him.
probably don't know this guy.
Okay.
18, 20, 22. I'm counting 26 voters who did not rank LSU this week.
So stupid.
26.
So stupid. So stupid.
A bunch at 25. Cecil Hurd had him at 24. Bob Holt had him at 23. Just names people might know off the top of their head. Is Josh Vitale related to Dick Vitale?
I don't know.
Nah, he's the Montgomery Advertiser writer. Probably not.
I'm going to guess not.
Yeah, I just saw it and thought, well, maybe. Sure.
Montgomery Advertiser's still in business. That's
I'll be damned.
I'll be damned.
Seth Davis has him 18th.
That's better.
Yeah, we're in the ballpark now. We'll at least play there. No problems. But look at Ole Miss's when we're doing that to see. State's at 22 in the poll, by the way, if anybody cares. Just noticing that.
They've really played well lately.
So Ole Miss's highest vote getter was Brant Wilkerson. Brant Wilkerson is the news and record out of Greensboro, North Carolina. Okay. And he has your Rebels 14th nationally, as high as 14th.
Wow. Feels a little high.
Marcus Fuller has them at 16. He is from the St. Paul Pioneer Press.
Okay.
And then there's a group of people that have them at 17, including Bob Holt and then David Cloninger, who covers South Carolina.
And I think that's about right. I'd have them somewhere between 17 and 19.
John Rothstein has them at 18, looking for some national names here.
Yeah.
Dave Matter, that covers Missouri, has them at 20.
That's fair.
Seth Davis has them at 20. Sheldon Mickles has them at 20.
Yeah.
Cecil Hurt, 21. And then there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 people have Ole Miss not ranked. So that's where we are right now.
I don't see how you could do a poll and not put Ole Miss in it right now.
No.
They're 14-3, 4-1 in the league. Don't have anything resembling a bad loss. Have some nice wins. Beat Auburn, beat Mississippi State, beat Baylor.
Two guys had them all the way up at 11 last week.
And that was too high. They're not the 11th best team in the country.
Yeah.
Not right now.
Just looking at it. Anyway.
A lot of basketball on the site, though. RebelGrove.com. It's part of the Rivals Network.
Real quick, let's answer this too. I got multiple people telling me all the same thing, so I'm going to assume they were correct. We'll make an assumption here and hope for the best. We were talking yesterday about how we didn't know how the SEC Big 12 Challenge worked moving forward. The answer apparently is that it is the average finish of the two seasons combined. So with Ole Miss finishing dead last year, or I guess, dead last, they actually stayed away from Vanderbilt time for 13. So 14th last year. In a vacuum, they would need a sixth-place finish, although it's not in a vacuum. But either way, they're going to need to finish pretty high in the SEC to get back into that. I've got it pulled up here from last year, so just kind of going off what we know right now. Auburn and Tennessee won the league last year. They're certainly safe this time as well.
Like their chances.
Florida's safe probably as well.
Yeah.
I think Arkansas, because they finished fourth last year, is probably safe. However, you need to kind of watch them the rest of the way in case they fall off a cliff.
Well, they're on the precipice of the damn cliff.
Kentucky finished fifth last year. They're going to be fine.
They're fine.
The SEC will change the rules if Kentucky does not find a way to make it into the SEC Big 12 Challenge next year.
Yes, they should.
Missouri at 6 or 7, wherever I'm at.
They're in danger.
Watch them a little bit. A&M next. They're in danger. You got to watch them a little bit. State and LSU are going to finish high enough to be fine this year, I think.
Yep.
Alabama in trouble down there around 9 or 10, somewhere around that from last year.
One to watch.
Carolina at 10 last year or 11, they're done. They won't be one, I don't think. I think they're going to fall off a cliff. I know they have a good record now, but I think they end up falling off.
There's your hot basketball take from one Anthony Chase Parham. Probably.
Really? They're going to lose to Auburn at home tonight.
Yeah. I think they fall off.
They feel like a team that falls off.
And maybe fall off precipitously.
But even falling off to 7 and 11 or whatever is enough to keep them out of the thing.
That's true.
Georgia is not going to make it.
No.
Vanderbilt is not going to make it.
No.
So Ole Miss, they got a good shot, but that's where they are. They've got
to get to like 12 wins, 11 or 12 wins this year.
Yeah,
they were bad last year.
Yeah, and now I don't know. That's a good question too. I don't know if it's wins or place. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know how that works, but either way, it's the average of the 2 years, and we'll see moving forward. So. All right. Alabama, you said coverage at the site at rebelgrove.com. Who'd y'all talk to yesterday?
We talked to Kermit Davis and Terrence Davis. Both of those videos, as I mentioned, are up at rebelgrove.com. It's on the website, on the message board.
My one complaint from Saturday was that when you have Kermit Davis, Terrence Davis, and DC Davis, I get tired of writing first names.
A lot of Davis
in my content. I was really annoyed with having to continue to write first names on Saturday.
2 of the Davises graduate. I feel like putting in a request that he stop recruiting kids named Davis.
Mm-hmm.
Something tells me he would ignore that request. It is from a writing standpoint somewhat problematic.
It really kind of is.
It is. You have to do first names a lot.
And there's some common sense involved where at times you can avoid it, but not many. I mean,
yeah, I'm not convinced that common sense can be relied on much anymore.
So you use first names every time?
A lot.
Really?
I mean, I use the whole name. I don't say.
Yeah, I know that. Yeah. That's what
I'm not going to refer to the players by their nicknames or first names only.
You could.
Oh. Shut up, Neil. Say nothing.
It's one of those days, if I keep triggering you enough, probably can get there.
Yeah, I'm on the cusp. I'm right there.
If you're curious about Alabama a little bit, though, let's look at them a touch more. Their SEC losses to this point, They beat Kentucky 77-75 at home to open conference play.
Yeah.
And then they had back-to-back losses, one okay and one not very okay. They lost by 9 to LSU in Baton Rouge.
We're in that game.
Yeah, that wasn't a big deal. And then they lost at home 81-80 to A&M. That was a big deal. That is not a good way to go about things. They went to Columbia, Missouri, and actually kind of crushed the Tigers a little bit up there by 10. And then had the Tennessee game. So it's been pretty uneven for Avery Johnson and his boys so far. In the 9 league, they have a loss to Northeastern on a neutral site. Northeastern, though, however, is ranked, 94 in KenPom as of right now. I don't know what they are net. And then they have losses to UCF away from home in Orlando, and then they have a loss to Georgia State at home. They do have a win over Arizona if you want to look for the positive, although this is not your typical Arizona team that would have some guys in the past on it.
It's almost like it's an Arizona team that got popped by the FBI.
Can't quite cheat just quite as much.
It's almost as if someone took away their license to cheat. Almost as if.
Kansas, however, does not seem to have that problem.
I think the NCAA says we kind of need them to cheat. We need them to be good.
That's a hot take, a little bit. Need them to cheat?
Need them to be good. I mean, let's keep college basketball in the proper perspective.
You feel like Arizona's in that group? Or they're just not at the tier enough to be there?
No, I think it's a very small group. I think it's North Carolina, Duke, Kentucky.
And Kansas.
Kansas, and maybe in an ideal world, UCLA. But they've fallen off so much.
They say UCLA won't do their own part enough
no one will.
to get
Yeah,
there.
they can't. Yeah, they're kind of out there.
It's sort of their own fault.
So yeah, because I think they could do whatever they needed to do, and people would sort of turn a blind eye to it. My opinion. I mean, look, college basketball is not. I had this discussion with somebody last night. They were fawning over the NFL championship game ratings, which are skyrocket. The Chiefs-Patriots primetime rating was just wow.
Yeah, it's in the 50s.
53 point something. For perspective, that's more than double the national championship number.
And it was 10 higher than last year's title games.
Yeah, and it was more than double the highest NBA Finals game. It was more than double the highest much more than double the highest World Series game. A World Series that included the Red Sox and the Dodgers, for God's sake. Was it the Dodgers in the World Series? No. Yeah. Dodgers and Red Sox.
They lost.
The NFL's the king. NFL's the absolute undisputed king. They're great at it. College basketball is not. It's not a mainstream sport, except for the month of March. And so that month of March, they've got to capitalize on it. You can't have crippled Kansas or crippled Kentucky and get the same numbers that you want to get. You need Duke to be dominant. You need North Carolina, Kansas, Kentucky to be dominant programs. Absolutely, you do. In an ideal world, you'd have a couple of Big East teams like, a Georgetown.
So you'd love Georgetown and some of those teams.
St. John's.
Yeah.
Big markets.
Traditional powers.
Yes. Michigan. UCLA. That's who they want in the Sweet 16.
They want Cinderellas to win a game and then lose.
Yeah, they don't want Northeastern or UCF, for example, to be in the second weekend. Love for them to win that first game. UCF knocks off Auburn.
They're
NC
in. State.
In, but they need them to lose the next game.
Yeah. Don't screw with Duke.
It's cute. Yeah, and then UCF knocks off Auburn, for example, and then I don't have a bracket in front of me. Obviously, there's not one, and then plays Duke. And leads at halftime and then loses, and you can write the cute story at the end. Oh boy, they really, they wore that
lucky
slipper.
Upstarts.
Oh, wore that slipper well. God bless them. Good for them. But the truth is, nobody really.
Now we're going to go to the Sweet 16, and Duke, you're going to go play North Carolina.
Right.
Cool. All right.
Nobody really wanted Loyola Chicago in the Final Four.
No.
I promise you, if you offer the tournament, hey, you guys can have the Final Four. Who do you want? We'll have Duke, North Carolina, Kentucky, and Kansas. We're done. Give us those 4. And we really don't want a Duke, North Carolina final, so we need one of them to lose. Give me the Duke, Kentucky, or Duke, Kansas final. We're in. We'll get our Monday night number and go about our business.
Everybody in the sports world hates one or the other, or both. They'll watch.
But college basketball's not a mainstream sport anymore. Go to ESPN.com. It's not even on their main menu.
I had a hard time finding it this morning. For some reason, I wasn't logged in this morning where it has my customized sports up there. And I had a hard time finding the Kansas-Iowa State game without having to click around a little bit.
It's just not a mainstream sport. Doesn't get mainstream sport ratings. Ole Miss and Alabama will play tonight on ESPNU. I don't know what the number will be. It'll be a very small number.
Australian Open is higher on my page right now. I just went to it than college basketball.
This probably has more mainstream interest. And it's more niche than it's ever been.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
the only sport. Here's a hot take?
Tennis is below hockey and golf at this point.
You want a hot take?
Why not?
It's a hot take. The only sport that is consistently mainstream anymore is NFL and college football, but way down. I mean, there's a fall off. Like you need the parachute that we talked about yesterday to get from the NFL to where college football resonates. But college football gets a consistent number.
Yeah.
Baseball's a regional sport, gets great regional numbers.
It has to just accept what it is now, which is a powerful regional sport.
The NBA is it gets great Christmas Day numbers, and then it kind of goes away until the playoffs. It gets great playoff numbers.
It does.
The NBA does the playoffs super. NHL's very niche now. It doesn't get real good numbers. It's very regional and niche. Golf, if it's not Tiger Woods, gets niche numbers.
Oh, yeah.
Tennis gets niche numbers. There's no tennis superstar anymore. No men's tennis superstar outside of maybe Federer, and I don't know that he resonates worldwide or nationally or whatnot. There's just sports have become, because there's so much sports on TV, very niche.
You just watch what you like.
Very regional. You watch what you like, with the exception of the NFL, and everybody watches that.
Casual fan doesn't exist like it once did because they just watch something else. It's not it's the Saturday MLB game of the week. So at 1 o'clock on Saturday, we're going to watch the Astros and the Brewers or whomever, whatever.
Yeah.
I'll turn on my Netflix or I'll watch my on-demand golf from the night before that I missed. Flip it back on.
It's why Sunday night Major League Baseball, everyone criticizes ESPN because they put the Red Sox and the Yankees on just about every time, and it's because those are about the only 2 or 3 teams that get numbers. If they put Seattle and Minnesota on Sunday night baseball, nobody watches.
I mean, I'm not a great. You're a much better test subject for this thing than I am because I have a niche interest that I stick to so hard. But I mean, yesterday afternoon, instead of trying to just see what's on the sports world, it was web.com, but I'm watching minor league golf while I'm working. It's on the TV behind me. Just kind of glancing up at it. That's what I was watching, sort of. But anyway, we'll move on.
You probably were one of the few, but it's a good point.
Yeah.
People watch niche stuff. I came back here and wrote and watched Thunder and Knicks on NBA TV. Then I watched some of Pelicans Grizzlies last night. Grizzlies need to clean house. It's over.
Dylan.
If you want a hot take, most Grizzlies fans would agree it's over. Blow it up.
Podcast brought to you in part by Community Mortgage, Oxford, Memphis, Settle County, and Chattanooga. 30s old this year. One of the oldest mortgage companies in the Southeast. All underwriting and processing is done in Memphis. You're getting local underwriting that understands your market, a leader in condo financing and the float-down options. So give Jason a call at 662-234-2704 or JLowe, JLOWE at communitymtg.com.
We told you that Dead Soxy would be informing you of any new products or opportunities, and they're pleased to announce a way for you, the Rebel Grove Oxford Exxon podcast community, to be a part of the process in the creation of new sock concepts. There's still limited quantities, of the Rebel sock line available, And in an effort to launch a new line, they are increasing the discount to 30% off all items. As this original Rebel line comes to a conclusion, don't miss your opportunity to feel the difference a quality sock makes. Additionally, there will be new concept pictures forthcoming where they really want your honest feedback and input as to what resonates with you. For all of you who've tried them out with a single or couple pairs, now's the time to round out your week's worth with this 30% offer. Go to deadsoxy.com, enter the code RebelGrove at checkout for 30% off at checkout. Deadsoxy.com, code RebelGrove. Listen, do me a favor. If you haven't tried these socks, go give them a shot. It does two things. One, you're going to love them. It's a great, high-quality sock. They stay up. They feel great. They stay cool. I was walking in Chicago. We walked and walked and walked and walked and walked and walked some more. They stayed up. I never had to reach down not one time and pull my sock up. They were fantastic. You'll love them. They look great. They hold up great through washes and dries, all that stuff. And it also does us a favor. It helps us keep that Soft Verbal podcast rolling. It's a big part of what we do. Quite frankly, it's one of the ways that we compensate Russell for his work. Do us a favor. If you haven't tried the socks, give them a shot. 30% off at deadsoxy.com. Promo code RebelGrove. If you've tried a pair and you like them, get another pair. If you've tried 3 or 4 pairs and you love them, get a couple more. It's a great product. You're helping us. You help the Soft Verbal podcast, which we'll be taping again later this week. It's a good deal all the way around. We appreciate your consideration. Podcast also brought to you by our friends at Grenada Nissan. Grenada Nissan is located just off Interstate 55 in Grenada, Mississippi. They have a complete selection of new and previously owned Nissan vehicles. Go in, test drive one today. Tell Gene and Sandy that you heard about Grenada Nissan on the podcast, that you heard about it at rebelgrove.com, and you'll get Rebel savings on top of the already great deals at Grenada Nissan. It's GrenadaNissanUSA.com. Also brought to you by Harry Alexander. Harry is an Oxford-based RE/MAX Legacy Realty agent. He's been in Oxford more than 4 decades. No one knows the residential and condo market in Oxford better than Harry. Go to his site. He'll prove it to you. HarryAlexander.com. Click on the Properties and Neighborhoods tab. Filter through by what you're looking for, and then send him an email, ha@harryalexander.com. And as Chase said, the nationally ranked Ole Miss men's basketball team returns to the Pavilion on Saturday. They take on number 24 Iowa State for the SEC Big 12 Challenge. Fans are encouraged to wear powder blue for the powder blue out in the Pavilion. Tickets can be purchased by visiting OleMissTix.com. Ole Miss baseball season is right around the corner. Season tickets start at just $150 for the number 13 preseason ranked Diamond Rebels. To purchase, visit OleMissTix.com. And the number 12 nationally ranked Ole Miss women's tennis team opens up home play this weekend on Saturday as they take on Purdue at 11 a.m. inside the William Galtney Indoor Center. Admission is free. For more information, visit OleMissSports.com.
Podcast also brought to you by G&M Pharmacy. Don't waste your time with the big chains. Go somewhere you're appreciated. G&M Pharmacy is locally owned and operated, and they care about their customers. Been Oxford's trusted hometown pharmacy for 40 years and offer many great services such as MedSync, immunizations, and free delivery to your home or workplace right there on South Lamar Boulevard in Oxford. And transferring your medications is simple. Just give them a call at 662-236-2222, and they will take care of the rest. Before I forget about it, you mentioned doing business with many of our sponsors. Also help them out. I saw the link last night. I made a joke about it, but the 2018 Best of Oxford vote started. So if any of our sponsors fit that bill, if you've used them, if you appreciated them, throw them into that. Give them a little recognition there for the Best of Oxford, all the way from G&M to Funky's for Pizza or anything else. Probably not many businesses in the state better than Blue Delta. So a lot of different ways to help our guys out with putting them into that Best of Oxford, as I see it going around today with voting.
I had several compliments on Blue Delta when I was in Chicago.
Did you?
I did.
People pointed out your pants.
Mm-hmm.
Did they?
I did.
That make you comfortable? Because that meant people were kind of staring at your tail a little bit. Just saying.
It is what it is, you know?
Well, yeah, but that's not usually something that you're overly acclimated to, if you will.
Not acclimated to that at all. A little surprising when it happens.
The corduroy?
Yeah. Yeah, people like the corduroys.
I like the corduroy.
Mm-hmm.
And it was cold up there, I'm sure.
It was funny because Saturday night in Chicago, it was like 21 and there was snow blowing. And I swear to you, when we got off the plane in Memphis, it was colder in Memphis than it was Chicago because it was that damp cold. You know, like you get close to the Mississippi River, whether it's in Memphis or Baton Rouge or wherever you may be, on a cold day, the cold off that river is colder than any other cold.
It's as much south version that we can get of like the marine layer out west where you're freezing in L.A. Like,
yeah.
I've told that story. I went to Long Beach, and it's like, I'm going to the beach, and everybody goes, hey, dude, like, it's going to freeze at night. You need multiple layers, and sure enough, that Friday night, it's shivering. This is different. This is not what I expected.
It was so much colder in Memphis than it was Chicago. Even though Chicago on Sunday morning when we left, it was like 12 degrees. But it was dry cold. It wasn't wet at all.
So you mentioned Knicks last night. You didn't watch The Bachelor?
Hell yeah, I watched The Bachelor.
Jeffrey's girlfriend agreed to be a correspondent last night on Twitter.
She accepted the rose.
She said, I accept this rose. Mostly trying to bother Jeffrey, which is really hard to do. So it was a bit of a futile effort, but nonetheless.
I want to know whether she says to Jeffrey, all right, I've watched 8,000 games. I watched Oregon State, Washington State at 11:15 on a Saturday night.
And you know how he is with basketball. She's having to watch Gonzaga Pepperdine.
Yeah. So she's got to say, so we're watching The Bachelor tonight. He probably has to think at that point, she's got a point. I mean, if she played that card, he would have to pretty much go, yeah, you're right. I don't know what choice he'd have. No, I'm not watching your 2 hours of entertainment after you've watched my 4 gazillion.
Because there's no one on earth who watches more sports than Jeffrey Wright.
No.
Any sport.
Not a soul. And if you do watch more than him, you need help.
There's a hotline out there for you.
Yeah, call 1-800 help me, please.
So our psycho's still there?
Oh, yeah. Of course, it's too early.
What are we down to?
It's like 15 or 16. It's still...
So we're just getting into the part where we need that voice to kind of help us sort through this thing.
We're just getting started. Look, this is not a show where it all ends quickly. This is a long process.
This is a novel.
This is absolutely a marathon. It's not a series of sprints. It's a marathon.
So the people that have been let go so far, everybody knew they were getting let go early, and they were just there to fill out numbers.
Yes. Yeah, we're not even really to the strong storylines yet. We're developing them.
Getting there.
Have a couple. I know this will shock you. Miss North Carolina and Miss Alabama both confided in Colton that the other was a psychopath.
Because they knew each other from pageant days.
And I know this will shock you. He was very disturbed by these accusations.
On both sides.
Yes.
So did it hurt each of them that they accused the other person?
It did, yet, and this will stun you, they both got a rose. They both made it for another week because that storyline is not yet played out. There will come a moment where that storyline has been played out and we'll have to get rid of one of them, but we're not there yet.
So which one's going to stay? Which state is going to hang around longer?
My money is on Miss North Carolina.
You don't think we can keep them both around to the top 5, 6, 7?
I think there's a real chance they both get to the final 6-ish.
Well, they're ready to kill each other.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We're approaching that point already because they've both gone to him and said, hey, she's nuts.
Which one's crazier?
Oh, Miss Alabama's crazier.
Is she?
Appears to be. Now, they could be setting it up for a big surprise where we find out that, no, in reality, Miss North Carolina is the biggest nut job of them all. The slutty one is still very much in it. The one who
blown away.
I know. The one who just goes up to him every time and says, so you're a virgin, I'm ready for that to end. At any moment, you snap your fingers and we're there.
Is that a conscious decision going in where the girl goes, hey, I'm going to find a way to be the biggest here?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's part of her strategy.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I'm going to go out.
You know you can't win, but you can hang around long enough to be a name.
Well, here's her other.
Because you can't win.
No, she's not going to win. Here's her other play. She's 23, and she keeps calling all the ones who are like 28 and 29 old. And that's bothering the old ones. And there is a certain desperate...
Some psychological warfare going on.
Yeah, there's
here.
a couple who are like 30 or 31, and they do act a little...
They're there for a family.
They do act a little desperate.
It's not going to work.
No, it typically doesn't work. There are some favorites emerging, but it's still early. Still early. And he's...
Is this 2 or 3 hours of programming in a night?
It's 2.
Okay.
2. Just a solid 2 hours.
Well, sometimes you have the tell-all or the there's usually some episodes have a third hour.
We'll get those. The first episode was 3 hours, and as we get late in the deal, we'll have the women tell-all where they don't tell anything.
No.
They just hint at some stuff, which if you were watching it, you already figured it out.
And you haven't checked Reality Steve or anything.
No.
No.
I don't want that. I've had people try to send me that. I just delete.
You want the show.
Just so you know, I delete that. I've had some of you email me Reality Steve links. I delete them. I do not read them. I don't have any false delusion about this show. I find it to be entertaining. It's just simply entertaining. I don't view it as real life. I don't feel sorry for anyone. I just like the show.
Do you like the cruises and the in paradise and stuff just as much, or whatever it is?
No. That's just commercialized raunchiness, which I'm good with, but no, it doesn't really interest me. This show's like a soap opera meets reality show, meets every stereotype in the world. They show up for a workout last night, and he's already out there without his shirt on. Looks like he's been hitting steroids, by the way. He looks really big. And he's got the
that's not a shock either, is it?
And he's got the goofy facial hair thing going now. Like he can't figure out what his facial hair situation is.
You don't like that either?
No, last night was not his best night. He didn't have a great night. He watched that episode last night and was like, that wasn't a good look. All of it. But the show's just designed to get mainstream numbers. I bet it gets good numbers. I'd love to know what like the overnight numbers were for The Bachelor.
I'm not looking it up. Sorry.
It's a strong Monday night. More people watch that than watch Kansas, Iowa State, I can promise you.
Probably.
Just telling you.
But it's on network TV.
Yeah,
That's
of
an
course.
advantage.
Of course. Sure.
Put Kansas, Iowa State on network TV, and now we're talking, big boy.
Yeah, I still think more people would watch The Bachelor. Girls in bikinis, the guys all ripped.
You and I have not had this conversation even in the slightest, so we'll do it on air for the first time.
Okay.
I've heard nothing about any pre-signing day coaching changes to this point. I know there's a thread on the board about some stuff up on the human resources site and whatnot, but I've heard nothing as of right now.
I've heard nothing other than rumors. Hear rumors about the same name or two.
Mostly name at this point.
Yeah.
The other one's kind of faded out, frankly.
Yeah. And no, I'm not naming the name on a rumor of a person who's got a job. No, sorry.
We know Todd Graham was in Oxford at the moment talking ball, but we'll see.
Yeah.
That's where we are at the moment.
If there were a staff opening.
Well, anyway, I mean, Todd Graham would be a very highly sought-after guy because he's been a head coach at multiple places. He
knows ball and is very versatile and can coach a lot of different things.
That's what I was about to say. He can coach anything.
Yeah.
I mean, guy's been around. Doesn't have the best reputation in the world of hanging around very well, but he will. He's not scared to take your gig for sure. So
that's one thing to hire him as your head coach. It's another thing to hire him as
like any of that.
Position coach.
That's a lot of the Rich Rodriguez stuff. It's like it was some people trying to dig it up. It's like, dude, he's not the head coach. He's an offensive coordinator. Who cares?
Yeah. And he's only going to be there. The people who are worried about him leaving, guys, for him to leave, they have to do well. And then if they do well and he leaves, you thank him.
It's the coach rejuvenation of – it's the same thing as when Arkansas State hires the up-and-comer. He can only go to Texas if he gets a good gig and he wins. I mean, that's it.
Right.
It's if he goes 4-8, Texas ain't hiring him.
And if he goes to Texas,
pat him on the back.
Yeah, help him pack his bags and throw him a parade on the way out of town and then ask him, hey, by the way, do you have any suggestions?
Yeah. Who's the next you?
Yeah. It's not complicated. People worrying about stuff you shouldn't worry about. What about recruiting? Don't worry about it. Go hire the next guy.
Todd Graham was at Rice, Tulsa, Pittsburgh, and then Arizona State until 2017. He did not coach anywhere in 2018.
I think he's interested in returning to coaching. He's friends with Rodriguez.
He got the really bad rep because he had the 3 jobs in 3 years. And really, it was one coaching change because
it was the one where he left Pitt.
He left Pitt for Arizona State after a year.
And kind of did it basically in the middle of the night.
Kind of Tuberville-ish.
It's just the business.
And there's no good way to do that. I mean, I guess there's a better way than a bad way to do that.
Well, there's the Neil Brown way of leaving Troy that very few people get to do. Because you're leaving Troy for West Virginia. You've done a great job, and everybody gets it, and they understand the money.
It's Arkansas State.
Right.
Troy,
and they
whatever.
hand you the microphone at a basketball game, and you get to tearfully say goodbye.
Yeah, Arkansas State wasn't pitchforking Hugh Freeze when he got the Ole Miss gig.
No, they
that was
congratulated
good.
him. Yeah.
Now we're going to go hire Gus.
Yeah.
And he's going to go to Auburn, and we're going to hire Blake Anderson, and we're going to be good. It's going to be all right.
That's how it works.
And he's hung around for a little while because hadn't quite hit that level.
Just hadn't quite, just the
been
mark.
Fine,
the
been
market,
good.
Yeah,
but
they're happy with it. It's worked out. And he'll leave soon. And when he leaves, they'll go hire the next guy. Know your lane.
all that to say, no, there's no news as of 8:53 on this Tuesday morning, and I could care less what Rodriguez has done in his past, frankly. So,
is that really a topic?
Nah, it was for a little while.
Okay.
It's more talking.
Who cares?
Well, I mean, when one of them is, hey, he had NCAA rules from practicing too long. Oh, well, let me not have a heart attack.
He violated the 20-hour rule?
Yeah.
Nobody does that.
All that means is people at Michigan hated him. I mean, really, that's it. Somebody turned him in is all that means.
They were looking to get rid of him.
Yes. And the NCAA, we've had this conversation a million times. I'll probably say it a million more times. They saw Ole Miss as a big fish. They like big fish.
Yes.
They had a chance to pop Michigan, so they popped Michigan.
The people that say the NCAA wouldn't want to hit Alabama football could not
They've done it twice. They'd like to do it a third time.
Could not be more wrong.
The Freedom Fighters would love to hit the Crimson Tide.
Oh, they would.
It would make their year.
6 to midnight.
Yes. Immediately.
And I mean midnight. Not 11:59, midnight.
Sildenafil not required.
Wouldn't even come close to needing it.
Oh.
They would love nothing more than to pop Alabama, Georgia, Ohio State. That's kind of the point of the whole thing. When everybody gets it wrong, they'd love to hammer those programs. Because as Chase said, you couldn't say it better, freedom fighting, preserving amateurism. They can't do it because they can't prove it. Mm-hmm. It's not do you cheat, it's do you cheat smartly.
Might continue that in a second. First, tell you about scripted jewelry. Go to the website, scriptedjewelry.com. I saw some people on the message board doing it yesterday. You should too. You'll see all the different ways they can make holidays and special occasions special for you and your loved ones, from you putting your handwriting and script on jewelry to fingerprints and much more. They'll even show you on the website what people have bought recently, give you some ideas and new arrivals. The turnaround times are fantastic. You still got several days for no rush ordering prior to Valentine's Day. I think January 30th, 29th, 30th is cut off for that. And then February 6th is the cutoff. You got a good bit of time if you want to pay for a rush upgrade. So go to the lookbooks, go to the frequently asked questions. If on the site right now, somebody in Greenville, North Carolina, buying an Ariel bracelet. Maybe it was Cliff Godwin for his significant other or somebody. So scriptedjewelry.com.
It's really cool. I did it at Christmas time. I've told some people. I did it at Christmas, and I was thrilled, and more importantly, the girls were quite pleased. So there's my endorsement. The podcast also brought to you by Oxford University Bank, OUB, locally owned and operated right here in Oxford. When you deposit money at OUB, that money and the vast majority of the bank's profits go right back into the Oxford community. OUB has a commercial checking account now paying 1% interest as long as you keep $10,000 in the account. Comes with fully interactive online banking. They can also set up any local business to deposit checks from their office and not have to worry about coming to the bank daily to deposit those checks. More than likely, any business owner at another bank is now paying a monthly fee for their account, and they're most assuredly not making 1% on their money. You can learn more by calling OUB 662-234-6668. Go to liveoxford.bankoxford.com. OUB is FDIC insured. Podcast also brought to you by John Edwards of Regency Travel Incorporated in Memphis. So we told you how this works. You call John, who has more than 37 years of travel experience. You call John and tell John what it is you're wanting to do, where you want to go roughly, what it is that you're wanting to do, what's the occasion, what's your budget, time frame, and then chill. He'll go and find you options that you would not have come up with on your own because he's part of Virtuoso. It's a worldwide network of travel partners that allows John to supply his clients with added values and unique benefits that are simply not available to other travelers. 901-494-3387 or jedwards@regencytravel.net. First-time clients can save $50 off their first booked trip just by telling John you heard about Regency Travel on the podcast. It's a podcast that's also brought to you in part by the Westin Jackson. Restore serenity to your soul. Visit Soul Spots, the ultimate luxury spa experience in downtown Jackson. Indulge in personalized massages, signature facials, soothing body treatments, and much more on their extensive spa list. Escape from the everyday. Rejuvenate yourself in their luxury spa today. And then gather at Estelle Wine Bar and Bistro. Sip on a creative craft cocktail or enjoy their curated wine list. It's open for breakfast, lunch, dinner, and Sunday brunch. Chef Caden's mission is to connect guests with the community through local partnerships. So gather at Estelle in the Westin Jackson tonight.
See the events coming up the rest of the week for Pop-Up Oxford. You can do that at popupoxfordms.com. Also visit oxfordms.com/events for everything going on in Oxford this week. The Pop-Up Oxford lasts through the 27th. And you can find something to suit everyone. You've got also Meet the Rebels for baseball on Saturday as the Iowa State game commences. So a little extra thing there for Ole Miss and Iowa State, an 11 a.m. tip, an early tip for that game. And again, see the full calendar of events at popupoxfordms.com or visit oxfordms.com/events. Neil, you jumped into the freedom fighting last night on Twitter as Notre Dame is erasing Christopher Columbus from their murals that appear to be centuries old. I saw somewhere.
Yes.
Those banners, those murals, those sites of Columbus have hindered the educational system in South Bend. They
For so
cannot
long.
function.
For so long.
And they have been covered up. And, look, it's... In all seriousness, it's a fight that's happening all over the country, including Ole Miss in different ways. Depending on what we're talking about. But this one, and now look, I've made fun of Christopher Columbus for years. We had a whole show on Columbus Day last time, making fun of Christopher Columbus.
Yeah. Dude got in a boat and went the wrong way and got honored.
And gets celebrated.
Yes. He is the ultimate participation trophy.
Yes, he is. Look. By all accounts of however we're accounting for something that happened in 1492 per the elementary song, I assume that's correct. In 1492, Columbus sailed the ocean blue. I'm assuming that's true. Was it the Nina, the Pinta, and the Santa Maria? Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Yeah, bad dude. Look, by all accounts, bad dude. Eradicated races and tribes and all sorts of stuff. Nobody's arguing that he should win a humanitarian award. My two things here, though, is I get really annoyed in general when we put moral compasses on past generations, centuries. I get that bad is bad, but I also think there are circumstances that are different where we can't look at everything through the same scope. we've had presidents with slaves. We've had a lot of things where it just time periods do have impact on activity and the way things happen. Going back and judging someone's moral compass to this level from the 1400s, after it has apparently not been a problem enough for it to be a bank holiday for the last how many ever years, it's just sort of interesting to me. We're talking about a dude that has days in multiple countries. I mean, we've looked at that list before.
Yeah.
It's a pretty small list that not only do you get a day, you get a day in a lot of countries.
Yeah.
For making a mistake.
This is my thing. My deal is just kind of, where does it stop? What's next? When you eradicate Columbus, hey, he's already dead. When you eradicate Columbus, what's next? We're going to do George Washington? Was George Washington perfect? No. Was Abraham Lincoln perfect? No. Close, but no. Jefferson? Martin Luther King Jr.? Where does it stop? They were humans. They made mistakes, lots of mistakes.
My bigger problem here is who decided to make Christopher Columbus the entryway into this building at Notre Dame? Who decided, hey, who could we put up there when you walk into this building, this is the dude we're going to see, and we pick Christopher Columbus?
What I thought about when I read this yesterday was the U.S. Capitol. You've done the tour, right?
I have, yeah.
If you get in the rotunda, kind of the history of our country is painted on there. And I don't know how many of the people that are pointed out in the rotunda or who have statues in the rotunda did bad things.
Almost all of them.
Hint. Here's a hint. All of them.
Yeah.
So what do we do? I don't have a problem.
Last time I checked, everyone that is famous for something is human, meaning there's a skeleton.
Oh, there's lots.
Everybody does something. Different degrees, but something.
So where does it? It's become.
If we've got this sliding scale, we can honor no one ever.
Absolutely.
No one.
Can't honor Washington. Did bad things. Can't honor Jefferson. Did bad things. I don't know about Lincoln. Sure, he did some things that if people dug enough, probably did some bad things. Probably said a bad word.
Wasn't a lot of internet and social media in 1865.
Can't honor Kennedy.
1860, whatever.
Can't honor Kennedy. Did bad things. Can't honor King. Did bad things. Can't honor Reagan. Bad things. Can't honor anybody. So then you got to rename schools. Got to rename all the schools. Got to rename all the streets. What do we do? Stop. My point is stop. Teach history. Teach it with perspective.
Perspective of time period.
Yes. I mean, otherwise we got to dive into like William the Conqueror. Bad dude. Get it? Caesar. Got to really dive in. Where does it stop?
Was Alexander the Great so great?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he was so great. Let's change him. Just to Alexander the okay. I just think it's dumb. I mean, it's dumb. And then when people say, well, I can't. If you literally cannot study at Notre Dame because of that mural, here's a thought. Don't go to Notre Dame. Or get help. Because you're taking this thing too seriously. Relax. Well, it's offensive to me. Then don't go there. Don't go there. I mean, I've got like Irish ancestry. I'm not, when they said the Fighting Irish, I'm offended.
Are you?
Damn right.
That's why you never pull for Notre Dame?
I'm not a fighter. I'm a lover. So I don't cheer for Notre Dame. I'm kidding. I don't know. I'm not easily offended. had this conversation the other day. I mean,
You're more offended at the people offended than you are the actual thing.
yeah, it's like if you make fun of bald people on TV, I'm not going to be offended by it. I get it. It's so funny. Are you offended every time someone makes a short joke?
No, I'm good.
Because you just wouldn't be able to survive if you were. I mean, how many people come up to me and go, "Hey, man, could you hold still? I need to check my reflection." Well, that's a bald joke. You're picking on a physical imperfection. Am I going to be offended every time somebody does that?
I'll tell you the one, just in general, that is starting to bother me more and more is everyone having a problem with comedy routines because they're offensive to some type of person. That's what comedy is. It plays on stereotypes. I mean,
Did you listen to the last Greatest Pod of the South?
No.
Okay, we talked about this.
Like it's starting to drive me crazy. I mean, under this level of scrutiny, you would never have Eddie Murphy, Richard Pryor, anyone.
I'll go further than that, Chase. The Office. You couldn't make The Office today. I saw where what's his name is starting a new
Steve Carell.
Thank you. Is starting a new comedy. I'm fascinated. What are you going to do? Because so much of The Office was about stereotypes. Silly. It was silly.
And it's on a platform that probably survives it, but yeah.
I don't know. What's funny to me is that young people watch The Office now and they love it. Yet they're being told, we're telling them, you should be offended by everything. Everything should offend you.
Actually, the best example of that is the new generation that has found Friends.
Yeah.
Because Friends is incredibly offensive if you look at it just under that scope if you're trying to.
Right. If you want to be offended by Friends, you can be offended
almost
by
every
Friends.
episode.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And when I watched it live, it never even crossed my thought process.
Because it was entertainment.
Yeah. It was just funny, and
It
you
was
move on with your day.
and every once in a while, Jennifer Aniston would walk around in something where you'd go, okay, that did something for me too, and I'm good. Seinfeld told they did sexist things, told jokes that were off color. It was entertaining.
Oh, tons. Yeah. I mean, that's
my point. I mean, he's a comedian. I mean, if you go to a stand-up comedy and you get offended, that's on you.
It's what stand-up comedy is. Every bit of it.
Making fun of people.
Yeah. Making fun of life.
Making fun of fat people. Making fun of skinny people. Making fun of white people. Making fun of whatever. Just making fun.
Yeah. That medium is going to die if this continues.
Yeah. Everyone's so sensitive. I don't have time to be that offended. Well, you don't know what it's like. You're right, I don't. So I look at the thing, and it's not even about whether Columbus is a good guy or not.
He's not a good guy.
And he's not a good guy. He's a really horrible guy.
It was 1492.
But he's credited with discovering the new world, and lots of people named things after him.
A lot of high schools are probably Christopher Columbus High School.
Tons of them. We're going to go back and change them all? To what? To who? That's my point. What are we changing them to? Because the dude that you named them after probably did something bad. It's a whole lot of Martin Luther King high schools. Martin Luther King Boulevard, John F. Kennedy Boulevard, John F. Kennedy Airport, Reagan International, Bush International. All of those dudes did bad things. They did.
By any measure.
By any measure, all of them were.
Have we just kind of stopped naming stuff after people, or are people skipping Clinton because of all his transgressions?
But there are lots of Clinton stuff.
No, like schools and things. Or is it just because, is there? I mean, I don't know.
I don't know. I would think there's going to be a whole lot of Barack Obama high schools.
Didn't somebody just rename their school Obama here in the last year or so? Was it even in Mississippi, maybe?
And, I mean, is Barack Obama perfect? I mean, are we really? I mean, what's the standard? No, he didn't eradicate an entire tribe. I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. But he also was in a different age.
It's fascinating.
I mean, do we go back and blow out the flame at Arlington for Kennedy? Wasn't perfect dude by any stretch, by any measure. I don't know. All of it just drives me crazy. I get tired of it.
Reading here from the Times-Picayune this morning, the NFL moved its referees from the NFC Championship game out of a New Orleans hotel after the Saints lost in controversial fashion to the St. Los Angeles Rams. The officials were moved to a suburban hotel out of an abundance of caution, the report said. Witnesses told the newspaper the officials were being harassed in person on the phone at the first hotel, which was not named but described as being downtown. The NFL confirmed the hotel switch. Security staffers escorted the referees onto a bus sent to a second unnamed hotel where one game official continued to get harassing phone calls. Security guards were stationed outside at least one of the hotel rooms throughout the night. The game officials checked out of the second hotel Monday morning without incident. Why were they still in town? Get them out immediately.
Yeah, I would have boarded them on a plane and gotten them to Ecuador.
Why were they staying in New Orleans on Sunday night?
I don't know, but I'm going to tell you this. The more you watch this, the more you read about it.
The official played for the Rams? Played.
Well, and there appears to be, and I've never, let me say this.
Well,
I've never officiated a football game.
At some point here soon, because we're going to do it. I mean, this isn't going to change it. We're going to get Brad Freeman on the podcast. I'm even more fascinated than ever to get that done.
Absolutely. And I don't know how freely he could talk about it.
Yeah.
This is part of the league's problem. I'm a big NFL guy. I mean, even though I don't keep up with the NFL, you've heard me say it so many times, it's the king, it's the standard bearer, the whole deal. But, Chase, there needs to be some transparency here. Because, look, everybody's going to watch the Super Bowl, but this is the first Super Bowl that I can remember that feels tainted. Morstead said yesterday, the Saints punter, Thomas Morstead. Did you see it? Or have you been unable to kind of watch it?
It's not good.
Okay, he did it. The Saints had their clean out their locker day yesterday because it's over. And they asked him, what's this? And they asked him 2 heartbreaks. And he went, well, wait a minute. And he stopped. And he said, last year, look, it was a fluke, the loss to Minnesota. We had the game won. But it was a football play. And that's easier to live with. He goes, it was hard. But it happened. They threw a ball. They caught a ball. And they ran it into the end zone and scored more points than we did. And it hurt. But I got over it. Because that's football. And basically what he's saying is, if you play a sport long enough, you're going to lose one on a fluky deal. You're going to win one on a fluky deal. It happens, right? He said, this one feels dirty. This is different. And I think that's how a fan base feels. If you were a Saints fan last year, oh, it hurt, it stung, oh, God. But you rallied around Marcus Williams because it's human. And that could happen. This is different. And the more people watch like the replay and stuff, not only does the call get worse, but it looks like both officials at some point reach and then kind of rally each other, intentionally did the wrong thing. And so you get into why. And this is where conspiracies start. No one's willing to put out a statement that says we messed it up. And here's why we messed it up. And here's how we messed it up. And here's how we're going to try to fix it. It's kind of how, like, you understand, like, the Kennedy assassination, the King assassination. Probably not all that hard to really figure out. But when no one's willing to be transparent, it fertile for these things. And there's a lot of, the commissioner hates Peyton. The thought of handing Sean Payton the Lombardi trophy is just not doable, so we did what we had to do as a league to make sure they weren't there. The league really wants NFL to work in Los Angeles, need it to work in Los Angeles. It's a massive market. If you've never been out there, until you go out there, you don't understand how massive that market is.
Teams struggling to get a local fan base.
And the Rams, as good as they are, nobody really cares. The Chargers, as good as they are, nobody cares. They need it to work, so maybe you need an NFL Super Bowl. You need a Los Angeles team in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, because the more I watch it, the pass interference, I can at least have that debate with you. The helmet-to-helmet is completely inexcusable. It's the helmet-to-helmet that is keeping me up at night, portion of it.
Oh, Chase, while I agree with you, I disagree with you. The helmet-to-helmet's egregious. But, Chase, no. The pass interference is the worst pass interference that I've ever seen. It's pass interference.
Yeah.
By any measure. There is no justification. And I'm not a Saints fan.
Yeah.
So I'm not biased on this. I was hoping the Bears would win the NFC. I mean, I've said this many times. I grew up in Louisiana. I have interest in the Saints, but I refuse to ever call myself a Saints fan because I did not endure the bad times. That's pass interference. They were robbed. And you can talk about other plays and block. Nope. I'm not going to do that either. They were robbed.
Yeah, the game would have ended right there.
Unless
he makes a 24-yard
Unless you're willing to tell me that you believe that kicker is going to miss a 24-yard kick, the game's over.
Yeah.
Because the Saints are going to run the clock down to 2 seconds, 3 seconds, and kick a field goal.
Yeah. Podcast brought to you in part by Master Cuts Lawn and Landscape. 662-607-7773. It's going to warm up, and when it does, you need somebody to take care of your lawn. They do everything from flower beds, landscaping, edging, weed eating, everything you need. They can handle it at Master Cut. They build structures. They do it all. So get a free quote from them. Give them a call at 662-607-7773, as I mentioned, or shoot them an email at info@gomastercuts.com.
Sorry about that. I was responding to a text. Let me pull this up. The podcast is also brought to you by Pinnacle Trust. On Tuesday, January the 29th, Pinnacle Trust will be hosting their annual economic forecast in Jackson, Mississippi at the Country Club of Jackson. Doors open at 5. Join the Pinnacle team for cocktails and appetizers. The program begins at 6. It'll end promptly at 7. Goldman Sachs economist John Tousley will be highlighting the current state of global economy and financial markets. The Pinnacle investment team will be there. They'll cover topics ranging from geopolitical risk to tariff negotiations and the impact on markets, and they'll also talk about the Federal Reserve. For those unable to attend, the event will be recorded and made available on the Pinnacle Trust website, pintrust.com. That's PINN trust.com. For reservations, email assistant@pintrust.com or call the office at 601-957-0323. Podcast also brought to you by Home 2 Suites Oxford. It's open and ready to accommodate you here in 2019. Chase talked about Pop-Up Oxford, which is ongoing as we speak. You can get a discount of 20% at Home 2 Suites Oxford throughout this week. So maybe you're coming up for the Iowa State game, coming up to enjoy some of the Pop-Up Oxford activities, and then go to the Iowa State game on Saturday. Give them a call at Home 2 Suites Oxford, and you'll get the 20% discounted rate. Also, later this month, we're running out of time in the month, so you know it's coming up soon. You want to be following them on social media, Twitter, Instagram. Home 2 Suites Oxford will be announcing their football weekend reservations being open. Be a great place to stay for football season, for baseball season, softball, basketball. It's just 1 mile from campus off the Old Taylor Road exit. Home 2 Suites Oxford. Guests will join us this week on the Patterson and Earhart hotline. Patterson and Earhart, attorneys at law. They specialize in personal injury law and real estate law, but theirs is a general practice that can handle any of your legal needs. When you contact Patterson and Earhart, you speak directly with one of the partners in the firm, and that's who handles your case, not some paralegal at a faceless corporate firm. If Patterson and Earhart can't help you, they'll refer you to someone who can. John Calvin Patterson and Wes Earhart are Ole Miss guys. They're local guys, and when you call them, you're going to get one of them on the phone within the same day, guaranteed. So whether you've been injured in a car wreck or have other legal issues, give them a call, 662-526-1992, or check out their website, pelaws.com. Your initial consultation is free.
The last of the major preseason top 25 polls came out yesterday. Baseball America with Ole Miss at number 13. The skinny on the Rebels from Baseball America, mainly Teddy Cahill, The Rebels return mostly lined up from a team that a year ago won 48 games in the Southeastern Conference Tournament. The powerful offense, strong defense, and deep bullpen will be key, as they must also replace the entire weekend rotation. First team practice for Ole Miss is Friday, and we'll start coverage sometime around there. But nonetheless, just a little update on the baseball team as we move forward.
Look, you either get to Omaha or else. I mean, I don't want to hear about all this preseason stuff. I'm tired of it. Don't even start. Wake me in June.
Some feel that way. One or two.
Yeah, and I get it. It's not the way to be. Enjoy the season. It's a fun team.
When it finally starts, people will mostly come around.
It's going to be a fun team. They're a talented team. It's a bunch of good kids. Mike's done a great job. The program's had a lot of stability.
Starting to get a little coaching tree there. You got McDonald in the top 15. You got State with Lamonis, which is technically a Bianco coaching tree member. You got Cliff. You got a lot of guys kind of coming through with pretty good teams right now.
I think it's going to be a really good year. It's got that feeling.
Well, they won 48 games last year. They weren't bad by any stretch of the imagination.
It's kind of one of the things that it was funny. I thought about this, believe it or not, during some of the Cubs stuff when the Cubs talked about how last year the way the season ended in such an abrupt fashion. You know, Ben Zobrist, who's a very articulate guy for a Major League Baseball player. And yes, I am saying that a lot of Major League Baseball players are not particularly articulate. Zobrist is. And he said, 48 hours before our season ended, we had the best record in the National League. 48 hours later, it's over.
It's a very similar deal, yeah.
He goes, it's really fast. And he goes, we didn't have a lot of time to absorb it. He kind of talked about how the year before the Cubs won the Central and they beat the Nationals in that 5-game series and they played the Dodgers and the Dodgers kind of dominated the series. And so by the time it ended, they'd had a little time to absorb the disappointment. You know what I mean? And so it's kind of like if you get to Omaha and you lose the first game, going in the rest of the way, even though you're fighting and scrapping to get there,
today might be the day.
It could end today. And you have some time to think because there's a day in between. And if it ended today, God, what a hell of a run.
Mm-hmm.
What a year. Disappointed because you wanted to win the whole thing, but what a hell of a year. When it
plane
ends,
rides back home from Omaha are not sad plane rides.
Unless you're Arkansas last season, yes. But yeah, you have time to absorb, to think. For Ole Miss last year, it ended so abruptly that taste is going to be a motivator.
They got up that morning, went to the ballpark at probably 9 a.m., 2-0 in the regional, 48 wins, SEC tournament, SEC West, playing an OVC team with no pitching left.
Had to believe, hey,
at some point today this is over.
Hey, we're playing Texas this weekend here. It's going to be crazy.
Yeah.
Neil and Chase are going to sell a lot of blue jeans with Blue Delta this week.
Yeah.
That's what we thought.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what we
already had live shows planned.
We had a live show Thursday planned. We
were on the ball.
We had a strategy. The Cubs were that way. You lose suddenly to Milwaukee, and then you lose to Colorado, and boom, it's over. And they talked about how they sat in that locker room, their clubhouse or whatever you call it, Major League Baseball, that night in shock, angry. Some guys were upset. Some guys were angry. It was fodder. They all went back and said, Theo Epstein made a great point, and I think it applies to Mike Bianco this year. When you come up 30 games short, you don't spend the offseason thinking, what if? You don't spend the offseason thinking, what could we do that would close that gap? He said, but when you come up 90 feet short, he goes, and we did. When you come up 90 feet short, you spend a lot of time thinking, if everybody did one little thing better, we're in a different spot. And it's a motivator. And I suspect you're going to see that with Ole Miss.
Starts February the 15th against Wright State in Oxford.
And I'm just going to tell you it'll be 28 degrees. It'll be cold.
Usually
God.
the first weekend's good, and then it falls off a cliff for whatever reason. We usually get one good weekend, and
you're
then
right.
it kind of goes crazy.
I don't know who they play the second weekend, but
they're in
ice.
New Orleans.
Well,
They're at Tulane.
The third weekend. You're going to have one of those weekends where well, this is ridiculous.
They come back home and play Long Beach State.
Ice cold. I hope I'm wrong.
The Dirtbags will not be expecting the cold weather that is coming their way that weekend.
They're going to be like, oh, my God, is it always like this here? Your hands are completely frozen.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, the two coldest places in Oxford, Mississippi in the spring, this is scientifically
Swayze
proven.
Field.
Swayze Field and F&C Park.
So if there's a pitching rubber, it's the coldest places.
Or a soccer field.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. I've sat out there for soccer. I'll tell you when it was last year. It was the day of the Grove Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
Carson had a soccer game that morning before the Grove Bowl. It was almost Grove Bowl over by the time I thawed out. That was April.
It's one of the entertain yourself moments is early in the baseball season when the DM or whoever sends the kid out that's never covered it before and he's wearing shorts because he hadn't walked into the stadium before, and you go, just wait a minute, bud.
And he's down there on one of those days
he's
where
just ice cold. He's shivering.
Ole Miss beats Southern Illinois State A&M 6-5,
and Mike decides to have a talk for 38 minutes after the game.
Yeah, Mike decides this is the moment that, you know what, I'm going to make a point right now.
Yeah.
And 30 minutes later,
poor kid's dying.
Yeah, and he comes up and you're like, Coach.
Yeah. Oh gosh. Little last thing for you here. Sad situation. A guy that we mentioned a couple weeks ago, actually. Former Oakland Raider and Dallas Cowboy running back Derry McFadden was arrested on a DWI charge after falling asleep in a fast food drive-thru. McFadden, 31, was taken into custody early Monday morning after employees of the McKinney, Texas Whataburger reported a sleeping man inside a vehicle in the drive-thru lane. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
no real comment.
I have a couple of thoughts that come to mind. With a lot of those guys, their reliance on painkillers becomes so addictive that it's hard to get past.
Yeah. On this date in 2006 was Kobe's 81-point night.
He was a good player.
Yeah, 13 years.
Kobe Bryant, good player.
Yeah. All right, back to tomorrow, Ole Miss and Alabama tonight from Tuscaloosa, 8 o'clock, ESPNU for that tip. We'll have a reaction and more. Talk to you then.